Welcome to O'Talkin' with Dave. Coming to you from his palatial fortress in Sin City, where what happens in Vegas is talked about everywhere. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you're great. I am top shelf, just getting things adjusted here. I live in Vegas, and I don't gamble. Today, that's what we're going to talk about, though, gambling. I've been here 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. And not a penny. I have not spun one slot machine. I don't know. I don't have anything against it. I really don't. I'm not making any moral judgments on gambling, even though God don't like riverboat gambling. I grew up with that. Gambling, bad. My parents, my mother every day polished the buckle on the Bible belt, she didn't rail against gambling. Matter of fact, they loved Vegas. Yeah. But gambling, just think of it. Recently, my buddy Neil, we were hanging out and listening to music and going downtown and frolicking as we are wont to do. And he said, Dave, just please, just once, let's sit down at a blackjack table. I'll back you. I'll put the money down. If you'll I just think it would be cool to hang out and do a little gambling. So I thought, if this is something he feels strongly about, and probably I don't have the bug. I don't care. I really don't. It's fun hanging out with my buddy. And it's probably a good thing that I don't have the gambling bug because we started winning. Beginner's luck is the worst thing that can happen to somebody. And I've seen people who never gambled before and all of a sudden it just triggers something in them. Not me. However, we ended up hitting about 4 tables throughout the course of the night and won at every one of them. So I'm his good luck charm. But I sitting there at the table and looking around and taking in the atmosphere, which I love Vegas. I love the energy. I love the lights. I love everything about it. I saw a lot of metaphors for life. Life is just one big casino. The lights are different. A lot of times the dealers will wear suits or in a conference room or in different situations. And the chips, that's really the choices we make. Even though I say I don't gamble, let's make no mistake. We're all gambling. Some gamble by the things that they do. They take that leap of faith. They take some risk. They buy the ticket. They ask the question. They interject something that they believe. That's a gamble. And others, they gamble when they don't do something. When they be quiet. They stay silent. It's probably a better way to say that. When they stay silent or they play it safe or they choose not to participate, which can be great. It's still a gamble. The thing is, the house always wins. A house always takes a cut. But you can pick which house you play in. Fear or faith, don't do, whatever. It's our choices. And so, when doing things are a gamble, let's talk about that. Just a few things. Everyday gambles that come from taking action. And I believe in taking action. If you're worried, hey, activity diminishes worry. So when I'm talking about gambling and the things we do or the things we don't do, either way, it is a choice. It's putting your chips on something, betting on something, either the do or the don't do. But when we're doing stuff, it's a gamble, but we all have to decide the degree of risk we're willing to take. For example, starting a business. According to U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 45% of new businesses fail within 5 years, but 55% don't. And those 55% employ millions of people and provide for their families and create businesses from those people. So if you say 45% of businesses fail, okay, that's a lot. But 55% don't. That's a strong number. So if you were a betting man, there you go. If it was 50-50, all right, 50-50, hey, man, my odds are pretty good. Yeah, depending on your gambling, just how much you're willing to put up there. So there it is, starting a business, falling in love. That is a gamble. Divorce rates, they're down. They're about 40%, a little over 40%. And again, I know, don't send me the emails, please, around my statistics. It is around 40%. Those that you see are up closer to 60, that's people that are habitually getting married over and over, which skew the number. It's around 42, 43% now of all marriages end in divorce. Okay? But the chance of that real connection, is it worth the risk? Depends on where you are, I believe. If you're recently divorced, probably not. But 60% chance? There's a 60% chance I could find the love of my life and this will last with a happy fairy tale ending. 60%? Oh, hey, 60% chance at the blackjack table. That's pretty good. Okay? What's another gamble? Speaking your mind. Say it! What could you lose? Approval? Reputation? Maybe friends? Maybe ruin a cocktail party? What is a cocktail party? All of that. That's what you risk. But you could gain respect. If you're authentic, okay, you can weed out those that don't like that, but you gain those that are like-minded. A lot of times that's worth it. I think a lot of times we wait too long to do that. And that is a great way to understand. Now, when anybody that wants to book me, I don't try to convince them. I just say, just watch a cross section of my stuff. It's out there. The shorts, I got almost 200 of these, plus all sorts of, you can tell real quick if I'm your cup of tea or not. And if you want to go from serious to not serious, check out snot bubbles and skid marks. That might rule me out. However, I believe all of that. I believe everything I say on here. So speaking your mind, that's a risk. Home, work, play, dude, it's a risk. It's a risk worth taking, in my opinion. Now, young people, I'll say this. Sometimes when you're young, you're opinionated and you say that and, you got to read the room. And sometimes it's better to hold your tongue. However, speaking it, getting through it, taking that risk and failing, sometimes that's how you learn. And then you can place that bet next time with some knowledge that you didn't have before. Another risk, and I see people do this quite often, by choice and not. However, when it's by choice, it's a bold move. And that would be changing careers late in life. You can risk it. I can struggle through the next 10 years and retire comfortably here. But is it what you want? Is it giving you what you need? What will that 10 years do to you? What will it? It's not your only choice, but it's the most comfortable choice. It's a comfort zone. Harvard did a study and found that adults over 50 who pursue new learnings or careers that are shifting report 35% higher life satisfaction. 35% higher life satisfaction than those who just stuck it out. I was 54 and changed. So I can promise you I'm in that 35%. Because I saw come to light after I left a company, I was there almost 20 years, I see what happened to them and their culture and the people that stayed compared to this crazy ride I've been on for the last 6 years and continue. I can't wait. They're all wanting to retire. They're trying to see how they can retire at 62 or 65. I'm going to do this. You're going to find me slumped over my laptop somewhere with a big grin on my face. I hope. That's my goal. Retirement is not an option. But changing careers late in life or after you've been one place for a long time, some people that would scare the crap out of them. It's a gamble. It is definitely a gamble. And then something simple. It's not simple at all, but a less gambling type metaphor would be just investing in your health. I know that sounds weird, but it keeps coming up, and I keep getting these comments. That would be like, okay, I'm going to change my diet and eat cleaner. I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to start exercising, which is what you should do. I don't know about the gym. I've got a gym membership I've been paying for, oh goodness, almost 2 years now. I don't remember last time I went there, but I'm gonna start. First of the year, I promise. But see, that's a gamble in that if I change my diet, if I start going to the gym, if I start exercising, I'm doing that, but how that is a gamble, I'm betting on that's going to make, that discomfort today is going to make me feel better tomorrow. And if I keep doing it, I think I will. I'm betting on that. It's going to take time. It's going to take more money. It's going to be opportunity cost away from something that I would be doing otherwise. So you're gambling with your time and your efforts, and it's less of a gamble. But part of what I'm doing here is showing you when you look at choices you make, whether it's to do something or not do something, no matter what it is, how you use your time and your effort and your mental state of being, your mind space, it's all a gamble. So let's talk about some of the things that not doing, how that is a gamble. And I tell you what, I'm going to gamble on a sip of Diet Mountain Dew. Excuse me. They're not a sponsor, but they could. They're not a sponsor, but they could be. But little things that we're not doing, we don't think about. Some are big. I remember when somebody told me early on, insurance is just a gamble. It's a gamble. You're betting on something that you might not need. I say not buying insurance. That is the gamble, because if something happens, you've got it. But a lot of people don't buy insurance. You're gambling that life won't hit you. Life has a funny way of finding them. Life can find uninsured people like a tornado can find a trailer park. I'm telling you. And by insurance, I'm talking health insurance. I think car insurance or whatever, but health insurance especially. I'm not so much talking about life insurance or car insurance. It's that health insurance. Something can happen. Anything can happen. And you want to drain your finances? Get caught with an event without insurance. Also, feelings-wise, not forgiving somebody. And I'm just picking these. Think of your own, but not forgiving somebody. That doesn't hurt someone else near as much as it hurts you. When you don't forgive somebody, you lose every time, because that angst, that anger, God forbid, hatred, whatever that is, forgive for yourself. And sometimes it's just forgiving is moving on. What they did is so bad you could never forgive them. Forgive them for yourself. Move on. Cut them out. It may be a great self-selection. It may be good that they did that, because now you can cut them out where before you couldn't, and then you can move on. When you don't forgive somebody and hang on to what they did, that's not forgiving, so it's doing nothing, but it leads to other things. Don't punish yourself. The whole victim or beneficiary, if you're a victim of something they did, the benefit of forgiving them is freedom from it. So go for it, okay? One thing a gamble is, and I'm guilty of this a lot, and you probably are too to some degree, or you know someone that's this way, not asking for help. You need help, man. Usually those who are the biggest givers don't ask for help. And asking for help is giving. So many people, I've been in situations, I'll say the last 2 years, where I was in a situation where I needed help, and I reached out to someone, and they were able to help me. They would have done anything I asked, but I never really asked for help for these things. Some of it was physically. I needed help with a project or something. Part of it was just I needed a kind ear. I needed to get feedback. When you're risking your own progress or growth or the degree to which closeness can come with someone else when you don't ask for help. Because when you ask for help and it's given, it's fantastic. And a lot of times the reason we don't ask for help is to protect our pride. It's vulnerability. I think guys are guilty of this more than ladies, honestly. I do. Ladies don't have to be all macho where guys do. I can do this myself. Yeah, that's doing nothing. That's a gamble when you don't do that. Also, not taking the opportunity or an opportunity. Okay, yeah, Dave, you're just grasping for straws here. No, I've said over, and studies have shown that people late in life, they don't regret the things they did as much as the things that they didn't do. Taking that chance and that regret, it's so bad because many times you can't get it back. Opportunities come and go. A lot of times they don't come back around. It's almost like debt that you don't pay. It's going to grow and compound, and sooner or later, that's the way regret is. And regret comes from sometimes not taking the risk, not taking that opportunity, not putting yourself out there. So I'm not saying risk everything. No, I'm not saying risk anything. I'm just saying understand the timing of opportunities and take them. Take them. Calculated risk. I'm not saying go all in, to go back to the Gamblin reference. And then this last one, it's more self-reflective, but not changing when you know you should and what you should. Time is going to make that decision for you, and you don't get a refund. You don't get back pay. And that's different than not taking the opportunity, because if things about you, if you were to, your shortcomings, relationships you need to support, maybe some things about yourself that you need to not completely shift, but I need to take the edge off of this, or I need to do this more. Those things, you know it. And the longer you delay or the longer you do nothing, you're gambling with the proceeds that would come from doing that now, whether it's at work, relationships at work, different opportunities at work, in your general relationships. It may not destroy something, but it takes away that closeness and that bond that you could have, or that degree of success. One thing that I know a lot of people who play golf, and most of them say when they get older, they have more time and they'll take a lesson. And same way with tennis. And they work on that part of their game that they have struggled with for decades. And they always say, I wish I had just taken these lessons earlier. It would have changed their joy of the game. It would have given them so much more. And they can't get it back. So do the same thing with these characteristics about yourself. Not doing it, it's a gamble, and you're going to lose. You're going to lose, or you're not going to win as much as you could. So part of the deal, and I've seen a lot of people that are this way. I know I've got friends who will gamble on anything. They've got action on anything that happens. They'll bet on the coin toss. They'll bet on the individual statistics and games. It's almost like fantasy football. You're not rooting for a team to win. You're rooting for certain players to do well or certain players to do poorly. And some people are just obsessed with the chase or the gamble or the risk. And I think part of that is it's just that thrill. And so I want to talk a minute about the peace of mind versus that thrill. Because I'll admit, when I was at that blackjack table, and I learned some of the lingo, and I doubled down. They gave me 2 aces, and I split, and then they hit one with an ace. Now I've got 3 aces here. What? I was doubled down and splitting, doubling up. I was using terms that don't even meet because I got caught up. Oh, this is great. It's not even my money. This is great. And I ended up hitting on 2 hands. I doubled down after I had doubled on them, and it was great. That little bitty stack of chips got a lot thicker. So I get a little bit of that thrill. And here in Vegas, I like to go and watch the ball games at some of the Circa, but the place with all of the screens. And it's just, but I'm surrounded by intense risk takers. People chasing that money, but it's also that hit of dopamine. When the dice hit just right and the whole table blows up, it's fantastic. But I've learned something standing on the sidelines or beside the tables with nothing at risk. For me, that peace of mind is just as much or more of a jackpot than whatever they're cashing in on. And I know that sounds lame. That's Ward Cleaver stuff there, Dave. I know, but I walk away, not with I didn't risk anything, but I walk away not with a pocket full of money, but that was so much fun. And I'm taking in everything. While they're focused on this, I'm taking it all in, and I'm still enamored with it. I'm from Alabama, man. Every time I go to LA and see the skyline, it's wow, look at that. Certain things, I can go to the edge of this subdivision here, and as I take a right, there's the stratosphere. I can see it right there. I live here, and it's still, wow, it's wonderful. So that being able to pull gratitude and things to be excited about, that's my version of $200 a hand. And if I win, it's great. If I don't, oh no. So I've got more of a sure bet going on. But when you're not, the thing is, let's take it a little further. In life, when you're not gambling with your relationships or your finances or your security or your integrity, you sleep better. You think clearer. You walk a little taller. But the thrill of risk still has its place. Without it, life gets flat. It gets boring. You get burnt out. The key is knowing which risks earns, we'll say, interest and which drain your account. Because in everyday life, as we go through our home, work, and play, you have those risk takers. You may have those people that are burning the candle at both ends for right and wrong reasons. The thing is, you got to decide what's right for you. Just as if you're at the tables gambling or at the track. I'm around gambling my whole life. I lived almost across the street from a horse racing track. And so I've seen it. I've never bet a penny on a horse. I act like it. I get caught up in the jumping up and down beside the track. And they're thinking, this guy must have won big. I just get caught up in it. I'm easily amused. But then there's some other things that in every day that we gamble on that have nothing to do with casinos. And it's the little things that I've talked about. If you're tired, if you ain't got enough sleep, and you get behind the wheel of a car, I'm not talking drunk or substance abuse or anything else. That's a gamble. We do that a lot, don't we? Distracted driving. I'm texting and driving. That's a gamble. Not going to the doctor, ignoring your health when you have that if you had a headache 3 days in a row, or, something doesn't feel right in my gut, or whatever. Not checking that out, especially later in life, that's a gamble. That's a gamble. I'm telling you, loaning money to friends or family, there's a gamble. You might as well, don't ever loan money to friends and family. Just give it to them. Just give it to them and walk away. If you're going to do it, just give it to them. Yeah. Another gamble, staying at a toxic job, just for a paycheck, just for security. I'm telling you, it's draining you. Find an exit plan and execute it. Yeah, toxic people, the same way. Don't wait for something horrible to happen to make the decision for you. Do it. Otherwise, you're gambling. Speaking your mind, we talked about that. Or biting your tongue. It's a decision you make. Timing is everything. A lot of people get in trouble and they gamble by posting stuff online. And I'm not talking about different things. You're going to take a stand? Okay, understand. Politics, sex, and religion, you decide, I got to post this. That can have a fallout. So it is a gamble. It could elevate you. It could sink you. Yeah, and a lot of times just trusting your gut. I believe in trusting your gut sometimes. I don't believe in trusting your emotions. Facts need to play a role. And if you just go with emotions, especially on big decisions, you're gambling. If you need to have a tough conversation with somebody, And by need, for you, for those you love, for maybe for themselves, maybe for that person, and you're delaying that, it's a gamble. It is. What could happen between now and then? The ability to have that conversation could happen between now and then. I'm telling you, I hate to be negative. That's a gamble. Yeah. Or putting your heart out there. I know people who have fallen in love. They think they did, and maybe they did so many times. And to see them crash and burn, it's devastating. Your heart is delicate, and to have it crushed time after time, to put yourself back out there, that's a gamble. That's a gamble. And then just the whole thing, betting your future on luck. I'm a lucky guy. No, personally, I'm more cautious than my history would tell me. I usually end up okay, if not great, by the choices I make. Honestly, some of the toughest choices I've made were made for me, and it turned out great. I wouldn't have chosen that. So I don't know. I'm lucky. I don't believe in luck, by the way. I am fortunate. Some would say #blessed. But I can't depend on that and just throw caution to the wind. But see, a lot of us are gambling and don't realize it. We really don't. No, I don't gamble. No, it's not me. I don't gamble. I started by saying I don't gamble. I knew what I was talking about, so it was a premise. But a lot of people don't realize that they are gambling. So there's 5 signs that you may be gambling and you don't realize it. For instance, if you or someone else, sometimes we don't like to play this game of it's me. Okay, maybe it's a friend. If the phrase is, it'll work itself out. Everything will turn out all right. It's going to be okay. If you say that without a plan or without an indication of what's next so that it will be okay and work itself out and all that. But if you just say that, you're gambling. Chances are. If you ignore perceived small problems, just hoping they'll disappear, that's part of it. It'll work itself out. But it's not that big a deal. You're gambling. If you rely on hope more than preparation or planning, hope is not a strategy. We all have it. Hope is a good noun. It's a bad verb. Hope, we all have hope, I hope. But that can't be the exit route or the game plan. If you're hoping more than preparing, you're gambling. Yeah. If you repeat the same behavior that doesn't work out and expect a different result, that's the definition of insanity, right? You're hoping, maybe this time. Vegas was built on that. I'll repeat the behavior and expect a different result. Yeah, you're gambling. And if you feel more adrenaline than peace when you're making major decisions, if it's the hype and if it's that, I can just see myself living in that big house by the pool and throwing parties and, it's going to be great. Other than, can I afford this? Is this sustainable? Yeah, it's more adrenaline from an event than peace about it. You're gambling. So, not to be Debbie Downer, but those are signs. Yeah. And then there's risks of unchecked gambling. The financial ruin gambling can get you. This is real gambling. Over 2 million Americans suffer from a gambling addiction, and 85% report serious debt as a result. I know a guy who never gambled before, and we would go down to every year we would go down to Mobile, Alabama for the state tennis championships, and we would play. And one night every year we'd zip over to Biloxi, where the casinos are. Biloxi, Mississippi. They didn't have gambling in Alabama. We went one night. No, it was great. And this one guy, he was winning big, and we were ready to go back, and he wasn't ready to go back. And whatever happened, the next year we wanted to go. Okay, what night we're going to Biloxi? And this guy said, I'm not going. Why not? You had a good time last year. Found out he got up big and then lost it all. He'd never gambled before. And then he tried to get it back and kept hitting the ATM. It got to the point to where he put himself in so much debt, and one night he almost lost his house because the bug bit him. And he got that quick hit and that quick cash. He had plenty of money. It's the bug that got him. So financial ruin, not to mention real gambling, it can ruin all parts of your life. Relationships collapsing. And this is not just casino gambling. It's if you are taking chances and risks. Hidden risks destroy trust faster than obvious mistakes. And sometimes those who are gambling with their life, they hide it. Because just the organized gambling bug hits you, these other things. I can spin a web of lies and keep things turning. Okay, once those start becoming known, and a lack of trust or betrayal or all of these things, your relationships, they're gone. That's a huge result of unchecked gambling. And mental exhaustion, this constant risk-taking. It's the same as, it mimics like anxiety disorders because it's there. You got to do this. You got to rob Peter to pay Paul, and I got to bet this I got to win big here to cover these, and I've got to win all this. I remember at one point I read in Jimmy Connors, nothing against Jimmy Connors, I read in his autobiography, he had a horrible gambling problem, and he got to the point to where he would have to win a tournament to pay his gambling debt while being at the tournament. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's the same way in life. When you have built up, you've taken all these risks, both things you've done and things you haven't done, the anxiety and the mental exhaustion, it messes your mind up, and you can't recover to the point to where you were. You don't get that back. And then you lose credibility. One bad bet won't ruin your reputation. However, depending on how bad it is and how it built up and where it is and how it's timed, it can take you some time to recover from it. So we got to have those checks in place. And then, but the thing is, when you get all of this, like with anxiety and all the risk and these house of cards you're building, look at all these gambling references I'm bringing up. But I'm talking about mental and physical gambling with your decisions. You lose perspective as to who you are. You become something else. You depend on luck more, not discipline, and not preparation, and not the foundations of things that you can control. So gambling, unchecked gambling, no matter what kind it is, bad. I know so many people who come to Vegas with X amount of money, and that's all they're going to do. And they love it. They love the process, the whole thing. And once they win that much, they put that money away. Now they're playing with house money. No, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's fun as long as they don't go back into that and stay away from the ATM. So there's a balance to it. The risk and the reward, the thrill of risk, but the peace of understanding this whole thing and understanding the reward. So I think the way you do this, for me, it's understand what's a non-negotiable. Know what you're willing to bet. Know what you're willing to risk. Know your values. Know what you can live with. Maintain your integrity. But understand, these are non-negotiables. All of this other stuff, let her rip. So got to do that. Also the math. You got to do the math. Emotions love to gamble. Oh, let's get that going. That gossip. I heard this. Oh, so-and-so would love to hear this. Oh, I got a juicy piece of gossip. I'm like, I can't wait till I see so-and-so and tell them this. Somebody tells you something in confidence. Oh, then it comes up somewhere else. Don't lose your integrity. Emotions love to gamble, but logic rarely does. I'm not talking about the tables now. Take calculated risks regularly. All right, I get it. I have never been risk averse. The degree of risk and the topic, okay, but I'll take chances, man. That's where I get the thrill. But usually they're small. They're intentional bets. I'll bet on me. I'll bet on me. You want to give me a compensation package that's 100% salary or commission or bonus based on KPIs? Psh, keep your salary. I'll bet on me. That's the most I'll gamble. But I have confidence in myself, so I'll take those risks. I'll take a risk on someone who has a great personality and attitude but doesn't have the skill. They got that great personality and attitude. I can teach them the skill. I'll bet on that person. Yeah. I'll bet on my friends' loyalty toward me. Sometimes you lose. And when you lose, it's devastating. To that relationship. Not to me. Nobody can break me. So you take those small calculated risks enough and you get that shot of dopamine. You get that thrill. It's fantastic. And you bank your winnings. I love that. So take those calculated risks regularly and celebrate freedom, little pockets of freedom, little pockets of peace, little pockets of every little win. Treat all of those like a jackpot because quiet confidence it's as addictive as adrenaline if you learn how to do that. Take that moment. There are times when I've gotten good news or I've had a win at work, just different things. Maybe something happened in my personal life that's really good. Maybe something happened with one of my kids that I am so proud to go in another room and just take a minute. And, I'm going to enjoy this. Let me take this in. And maybe they've been through a path that's tough, and this is the good news. Take that as a win. Wins are everywhere. They don't have to be World Series or Super Bowl or the Masters. No, it can be a good shot. It can be a birdie. It can be a touchdown. Celebrate those as if it is a win, because it is. And then, word of caution, use fear as a signal. It's a traffic light. It's a caution light. It's a blinking yellow. Don't treat it necessarily as a stop sign. So many people, the opposite of risking everything would be not risking anything. That fear could be an instinct that you have that would teach you to pay attention, not stop, not abort. Don't quit. Never quit. Sometimes you should stop, but never quit. The right kind of fear, that keeps you sharp. And not stuck. It keeps you sharp. It's pay attention. Yeah. I mean, it happens here. We go through the mountains a lot and rocks fall, and it will say, next 5 miles, rock fall area. We don't just stop until they change that sign or go back home. No, we just pay more attention. May look up a little bit more. But a few quotes about risk-taking and gambling. One is by Mark Zuckerberg. We all know him, don't we? The biggest risk is not taking any risk. And I believe it. It's a healthy balance. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. I've heard that my whole life. Gambling is not about money. It's about escaping something. And that's not always bad. What are you trying to escape? What do you need to escape? And gambling is not just in the casinos. So in the 17th century, a French mathematician used gambling principles to invent probability theory. And in doing so, gave us math to calculate risk and reward for everything from investments to marriage. Hello, 17th century. I remember in my quantitative methods class, statistics in college, using math to figure probabilities. It fascinated me. I mean, he gave us different sets of stuff and then had us figure the probability of the next, based on these sets of data, what's the probability of a red-headed female walking in the door next? Whoa. So I can see that goes directly to gambling, because gambling's all probabilities. You know, a lot of the these mind readers, they go sheer probabilities. And this 17th century French mathematician came up with that whole science. Now, I say that to say this. You don't have to do all that. I would hate to take a quantitative methods class right now. However, you be a good person. You treat people the way you should. When you feel conviction to do something, do it. When you feel conviction to not do something, okay, don't do it. But don't do either one of those out of fear or being crippled by emotion. You don't have to be a 17th century French mathematician here. Wear the white hat. Do the right things. Surround yourself with positive people. Trust your gut to some extent. Take small chances. Enjoy every win. Take time to enjoy every win. Because we gamble every day. Yeah, okay, who do I trust? Who am I going to give my time? Who do I love? Who am I going to give love to? Chance with my health. We gamble every day, but smart players don't rely on luck or emotion. No. Over time, you get wisdom. You obtain more wisdom. You have faith. You trust your preparation. With all of those things, it's still a gamble, but it's not reckless. Yeah, you can bet. You can bet on yourself. You can bet on games of chance. Yeah, you can bet things will change. Things will always change, but you can impact that change because of the choices that you control. Don't be forced to push in chips on something you don't want to. Yeah, because in that game, it's life. We got to live it. Life was meant to live, not endure. So you got to live it. And when you live it, who wins? You do. You do. All right. I'm not trying to tell you to be a gambler because God don't like riverboat gambling. However, some gambles are worth paying off. Just keep it in check. So I hope you've enjoyed this. It's topical. I'm in Vegas. I was out gambling this weekend with somebody else's money. If you're going to gamble, I suggest doing it with other people's money. It's a lot less stress. Yeah, it's 18. Hit me. No, I'm kidding. I didn't do that. All right, so hit me up, david@otalks.com, david@otalks.com. Yeah, check out the website. There's a bunch of crap on there. And then I appreciate all the support. It's been fantastic. I'm spanning the globe and not even leaving my little domicile here, but I appreciate it so much. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging on. Thanks for O-Talking with Dave. Giddy up.